Hi everyone, this is Mehmood Sheikh, and from past few videos I have been working on developing a lectures management system using PHP CodeIgniter AJAX and jQuery. In my last video I completed the functionality of updating professional details of a user, and in this video I will discuss about adding the skills. Okay, so whenever any user wants to add the skills for their profile, then user will come to this page and user will go into the skills tab, and you need to click on this add skills. Okay, and here a pop-up dialog box gets appear where I can write the name of the skill like inorganic chemistry. Okay, and here I can mention the percentage, how much percentage I know that skill. If I have 80% knowledge in that skill, then I will select 80%. If I have 70% of knowledge on that skill, I will select 70% of skill percentage. Okay, then I will click on this add skill. Then a message gets popped up and immediately that message gets disappeared. Okay, now I will click on this close button, and when I go to my database, and here I have created a TBL skills table to store the details of all the skills which user will be uploading. Okay, when I click on this TBL skills table, you will see and another record gets added to the table. Okay, which is inorganic chemistry. That means I have 70% of expertise in this particular topic or subject. Okay, so now this is what we will be going to discuss in this video. Okay, so before starting this video, I would just want to tell you guys, if you like this video, click on like button, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you will get regular updates on my upcoming videos. Okay, so now for starting developing the functionality of adding skills using PHP CodeIgniter AJAX and jQuery, first we need to go to our add profile file. Okay, so here you can see I have opened my add profile.php file. Okay, and here I have created the skills tab. So in my last video I had covered adding the professional details and updating the professional details of the user. Okay, once I close this div of professional section, you can see this div gets closed here, and now here and another div gets started with an ID of skills and with a class of tab. Okay, inside that I have created two links. One link is for adding skills, and to this add skills link I have given the data target as add skills model. Okay, so this add skill models refers to this div, so that whenever I click on this add skills button, the ID which is been connected with this model gets called. Okay, so here you can see this is the add skills link. Okay, to this I have given a class as add skills, and then data toggle as model and data target as add skills model. Okay, so that ID I have specified to this div, which means that whenever user will be clicking on this add skills button or link, this div will get loaded. Okay, which gets ended here. Okay, so now similarly I have created another link which is for editing skills, which I will be going to discuss in my upcoming videos. Okay, so now once a user click on this add skills, as I have already told, this div will get loaded. Okay, and this div I have created inside the form. To this form I have given an ID as add skills and class as form horizontal. Inside that form I have created this div, which I have told you that this div will get called the moment when the user click on this add skills link. So inside this div I have given a class as model fade and ID as add skills model. Okay, and then tab index is -1 and role as dialog. Okay, and then inside that div I have created another div with of class model dialog and another div with a model content. Okay, and inside that I have created another div with a classes model header to specify the title of that model, which is add skills, which you can see here at the top. Okay, now then immediately after that I have created a close button. Okay, so that if I want to close this model by clicking on this cross icon, then I can close it easily. Okay, and then I have started the model body. Inside the model body I have created a div with which I'm displaying a success message to the user whenever a user successfully uploaded any skill. Okay, so here I have given it as an ID. This ID I'm using in my jQuery code to display a success message to the user whenever user added any skill to their profile. Okay, so this div gets started here and ends here, and then I have created a label with a name as skill name, and then I have created an input text box with a name as skill name, class as form control, and ID as skill name, and placeholder. Okay, so this ID I'm using in my jQuery code, okay, for accessing the value of this text box. Okay, and then once I created this form input, I've created another label as skill percentage, and then I have created a select drop down, and to this I have given a name as a skill level and ID as skill level as well. Okay, and inside that I have created the options which says the percentage for that topic. Okay, 10% to 100%. Okay, and value as well I have assigned as 10% to 100%. So once this drop down for selecting the percentage of skills gets over, here the div, okay, let me just show you that. Here this model body div gets over here. Okay, immediately after that I have created another div with a class of model footer. Okay, inside that I have created another div with an ID model footer and two buttons. First button is for adding the skill, and another button is to close that model dialog box. Okay, so to the first button, which is for add skills, I have assigned an ID as add user skill. Okay, so whenever user will be clicking on this add skill button, I will be making an AJAX post request to my server to add the record inside the database. Okay, so whenever I click on this close button, the dialog box get closed and the page will get refreshed. Okay, for that I have used an on click event which is using location.reload method. Okay, so now this model footer gets closed here. Okay, and then this div, which is this model content, and this div closed here. Okay, and then the div one and another div, and here form gets closed. Okay, so this is everything about designing our add skill form. Okay, so now as I have told you that here I have assigned an ID to my add skill link as add user skill. Okay, so whenever user clicks on this add skill link, an AJAX request gets sent here to the jQuery code here, which I have written. Okay, so I have started this jQuery code with the document.ready function, and here with the help of this ID which I have assigned to my add skill button, I'm using this add user skill ID with an on click event, so that whenever user click on this add user skill, an on click event gets triggered. Okay, and here I'm taking the skill name and skill level values from the text boxes and drop down, and I'm storing these values inside this skill name and skill level variables. Okay, and then here I'm checking if the user tries to submit the form without entering or missing any of this text box value, then I will be displaying a user a message as fill all the fields. Okay. Otherwise, if the user has entered the skill name and skill level inside the text box and drop down, then here I'm making an AJAX request to add skill method which I have created inside the user controller. Okay, and I'm sending that post request to my add skill method. Okay, and here I'm storing the data in the form of JSON. Okay, then the control will come to the users.php file where I have created this add skill method. Okay, so here as well I'm taking the skill name and skill level which user will be entering inside this form and storing inside these two variables. Okay, apart from these two details, I'm also storing the user ID of the logged in user who is uploading the skill details inside this user ID variable. Okay, and this user ID I'm taking from the session data. Okay, once I collected all these details like skill name, level and user ID, I will store these details inside the skill data array. Okay, so now once I create this array which contains all the details, then I will send that array to insert skill function. Okay, which I have created inside user model file. Okay, which is my model. So here as you can see I have created an insert skill function which accepts the parameter of type array. Okay, the skill data holds all the details. Okay, then this data will get inserted inside the TBL skills table. Okay, so now the data gets saved successfully inside the table. So if the data successfully gets saved inside the table, then it will return a value, and now with that value I will come to know here in my jQuery code. Okay, if the data successfully gets saved inside the table, then the control will come inside this success function where I will display data stored successfully message to the user, or the message which I have written here, skill added successfully message, I will be displaying to the user immediately when skill gets added inside the table. Okay, and this message I am displaying with the help of this ID which I had told you earlierly. As you can see here, I had created this skill message ID. Okay, now next, okay, the immediately after I display a message to the user as skill added successfully, now I need to remove the content from the text boxes. For that I have used this ID of the text box dot val equals to null. Immediately after I add the skill, I want both of these text box and drop down content to be removed from the text box as well as from the drop down. Okay, so for that here I have written this code. Okay, and then immediately after that I will hide this message and I will reload the page. Okay, so now this is everything about developing the functionality of adding the user skill using PHP CodeIgniter AJAX and jQuery. Okay, so this is everything about developing the functionality of uploading the skills details of a user. Okay, so now let me just add another skill for different user. Okay, so now let me just log it out. I will log in as another user. Okay, so now I have entered the credentials of another user, and when I click on submit I will be redirected to the dashboard of that user. And now if I want to add the skills for that user, I will click on add profile. Okay, and I will click on this skills tab because I want to add the skills for that user, and I will click on this add skills, and here I will type biology, and I will select 90%. Okay, I have 90% of confidence in that subject. So now when I click on this add skill, you will see the skills added successfully message gets popped up, and immediately after that the text box and the drop down values gets disappeared. Okay, so that I can add another skill. Okay, so now I will add one more skill, chemistry. Okay, and I will select 80% as skill. Okay, now I will click on this add skill. Okay, you can see a message gets popped up, and now when I click on close, okay, that model gets disappeared. Okay, so now at this point when I click on the close button from the model, I should display the list of skills which this user has added into their profile. That I'm going to cover in my next video. Okay, so now let me just take you to the table where I can show you the skills which that user has added just now. Okay, so these are the two skills which that user has added just few seconds back. Okay, so now in this video we have discussed how to develop the functionality of adding the skills for a specific user with percentage. Okay, so in my next video I will discuss about displaying the list of all the skills which this user has added into their profile. Okay, so that we will be going to cover in our next video. Okay, and I hope you guys have understood everything whatever we have discussed in this video. Okay, and we will see you guys in my next video, and thanks for watching.